It's another Pet Pals TV and a great new show for you today, talking about the Iditarod with some twins. And these gals are mushers, and boy, do they love the sport. You're going to meet them. Also, Laura Steele is our new reporter. She joins us, and greyhounds are her first topic. Tom Doc is with us. We're talking about the very tough time at the end of life. How do you make that decision to say goodbye to your favorite friend? It's all coming up on Pet Pals TV.
Give a little love, give a little more this time. Give a little love, if you give everything will be fine. Give a little love, it'll come back if you just try. It'll feel right. Give a little love.
Welcome to Pet Pals TV. We got the whole gang here today. Stewie and Mabel and Laura Steele. Laura Steele is joining us as a first-class reporter. And Stewie approves too.
Thank you, Stewie.
You may know that name, Laura Steele. You may have heard her voice. You've been everywhere in the radio.
I talk a lot. I've been in radio for quite some time, all over the country. We're talking Chicago, Dallas. I'm on now currently in Cincinnati, Indianapolis. Voice work for the Indy 500. So a rock and roll lover and a lover of animals. So this is an absolute honor to be with you.
This is great.
Yeah, do coverage with Pet Pals TV.
Now, so you mentioned your love of animals. What do you have at home?
I have two dogs at home. I have Pearl and Oliver. And just as I was coming to the studio today, Pearl and Oliver got into the trash, so they're in trouble right now. They're mixed, little white fluffy. One is a rescue, the other is a Pouton, which I know Pouton's a Coton de Tillier and a Poodle mix.
Really?
Yes, so it's a Pouton. Oliver would like to think he's the only Pouton out there, but there are a few of that little hodgepodge of dogs.
They are spoiled rotten, and that's the way they should be at your house. Now, your first story, quite an emotional one.
It is an emotional one.
Because we're talking greyhounds. In case you didn't know, the whole greyhound situation is changing. In 2021, 7 of the 11 races in Florida, they're going to go away.
They voted that they are done.
Okay.
They're done.
Whether you approve of that or not, here's the situation. We have 6,000 to 8,000 greyhounds that are going to need homes.
Right.
What did you find out about the greyhounds?
I talked to Mary Loudon, who is the president of Prison Greyhounds. Now, these greyhounds have gone into the prisons to get ready to be
to teach
the
them
retired,
how to be pets.
the retired ones before this law went into effect, or before it will go into effect. And so that has been a program they've been doing, but now they're faced with a whole different situation.
And here we go. Prison Greyhounds with Laura Steele.
We are here at a class. We're learning what it's like to be a foster parent, or just have a greyhound in your family. Let's start with why this is such a delicate and important time for this breed.
Well, racing was just banned in November in Florida. So that's going to impact anywhere. The estimates are from 5 to upwards, maybe 8,000, maybe 10,000 dogs. Not that all of them are in Florida, but some of them may have been designated to go to Florida, but now will go other places or need to be retired and find homes instead. So over the next 2 years, we're going to see a gradual phase out of racing in Florida. So the greyhounds will need to find appropriate homes. So we are talking to people about what they can do to help the process.
Prison greyhounds, so tell me about the prison part, because that is something that you've been doing before this law was passed and the need for these animals to find homes. Now especially, tell me about that aspect of it.
Well, we take 4 to 8 greyhounds and we foster them in Putnamville Correctional Facility, which is a medium-level men's prison in Greencastle, Indiana. And we take the most confident, kind of what we call the bomb-proof dogs, the ones that can be around large crowds of people. Like, for instance, Dixie and Oreo here were both designated originally to go inside the prison program because they meet that confidence level. So, and when they foster them for 2 months, and they do the same thing that a good foster home would do.
Good with kids, I see.
Yes, these are absolutely. And these kids are good with greyhounds. So that's
important.
When people say, are greyhounds good with kids, Jen and I always like to ask them, are the kids good with greyhounds? Because there's a parent's responsibility to teach the children to respect the greyhound. Well, we always make it a point to follow up with the adopter, because no matter how perfect you think the match is, you never really know until the dog goes into the home. And we always make sure that it is a success. And if not, then we just simply rehome the dog. So, but we've had huge success with people. They adopt their first one, they usually end up coming back wanting a second one, because when it comes to greyhound adoptions, you can forget everything you've known about dogs. It's kind of like, this is a different breed. It has a different heritage, a different upbringing, and there are some unique advantages to that. And people love that, so they love the breed. So it's not for everyone. We call it New Dog Day, the day that the dogs arrive.
I want to hear about the transportation, because I understand that is a huge aspect of it. This particular vehicle is amazing. It is really a home for them on the road.
It is. And you'll get a chance to see and hear more about Victory Lap Greyhound Transport. They're 501c3, and they are a company, they're a nonprofit that has made the decision that they're going to assist in bringing home the retired racing greyhounds. Not everyone knows how to safely and properly transport greyhounds, especially in group. And they have a large charter bus, for lack of a better word, that they have transformed into a greyhound transport vehicle. Well, they can go to our website. If they're local, based around Indiana, they can go to prisongreyhounds.org. They can also go to our Facebook. We have a very active Facebook. But they need to find out where their closest National Greyhound Association endorsed adoption group is located. Mainly, they need to read the book, because, see, the thing is, people are going to hear, okay, they're going to hear all these greyhounds needing homes, 5,000 to 10,000 dogs. Oh my gosh, they're going to think we need to go rescue these dogs. And that's not what we need. Do your research, read the book, see if it's right for you, find a local adoption group.
Okay, Mary, thank you very much. Thank you to these beautiful, beautiful greyhounds that joined us today for the interview. Best wishes to these beautiful dogs.
You too.
Thank you.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Pet Pals TV continues with Anna and Kristy Berington, and they are the twins that we mentioned. They live up north where there's lots of snow, lots of dogs, and these are sled gals. They have their eye on the Iditarod. Let's take a look.
Anna and Kristy Berington are following their dreams all the way to the Iditarod.
Kristy and Anna are twins and best friends and sisters and family all in one. And that is something I think is very special.
Anna and Kristy don't just look alike, they definitely share a unique passion about what they do and the way they do it.
We race sled dogs together and live together, work together, have fun together. We do everything together.
Dog mushers are incredibly committed. They've left something behind to do this. They've left some sort of semblance of a normal life, caring for 40 to 50 to 60 dogs in minus 20 conditions year round with different challenges. In the summer, it doesn't get dark. In the winter, it's always dark.
The twins live in Alaska, where they train, race, and enjoy the breathtaking scenery.
These aren't just working animals. We call them our fur children sometimes because they're so important to us, just to raise them and to hold them when they're hours old, still wet behind the ears, to watching them finish their first race. It's like graduation day, and at the end of some of the races when you see these puppies that you've raised and raised their parents, it's really touching and emotional, and every year I get that moment of, I'm so proud of you.
Dog sled racing is their passion, something they've loved since they were kids.
We grew up in northern Wisconsin, and our neighbor had sprint racing sled dogs. So when we were little, about 9, 10 years old, we went over there to play with puppies and just play with dogs, and she would hire us to do little chores. There's always leftover senior dogs or young puppies that aren't quite able to race that are getting ready for next year to take care of. So instead of your average 12-year-old having a babysitting job or something, we had dog-sitting jobs.
The Iditarod is known as the last great race, which goes from Anchorage to Nome. Pet Pals TV took you there in 2014 and caught up with Kristy.
At every checkpoint, a vet has to sign we carry a vet book with us, and that's a log of each individual dog, how they've been doing, if they've had any minor injuries on the race, so the vets can keep monitoring their health.
This will be Anna's 8th Iditarod race and Kristy's 10th running. And while they're competitors, they're best friends as well.
Like, Kristy's there to perk me up and be like, hey, your team's looking great and stuff. And my best friend is out on the trail with me, so it's just like, yeah, this is awesome. So you always have that person there to pick you up. But for the most part, it's just you in the wilderness with your dog team quietly motoring along and just the most beautiful scenery imaginable. Yeah, it's as close to a magic carpet ride as you're going to get.
Kristy and Anna have created a video blog to chronicle their adventures to the Iditarod. You can see it now at petpalstv.com. Jason Heath, Pet Pals TV.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at at this little face. How could you not love him?
Pet Pals TV, Tom Dock is with us, practice manager of Noah's, and also our Pet Pals TV investigative reporter. And you have Petrie?
This is Petrie.
Petrie? Petrie is a
Pomeranian.
Just absolutely adorable. Look at that little face. We're going to talk about something today that is, wow, we hope we could both get through this.
Sure.
Near and dear to all of us pet lovers, pet owners. Sooner or later, you probably have to deal with the idea and the concept of euthanasia. When should you do it? How can you do it? Why should you do it? This came to light because on social media, and I shared this with Tom, and we were talking about how some people are being shamed into not going in with their pet when they have to say goodbye. You have some thoughts on this?
Sure. So this all started with a Facebook meme, I think it was Facebook, and it went viral. It was a emergency veterinarian. We don't know he or she. We just know it was at an emergency hospital. And this person felt that 90% of pet owners, pet lovers, don't stay with their pet during euthanasia, and that the dogs are scared, the cats are scared, and gosh, you should stay, and they were shaming them.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, in 30 years of doing this, I have the opposite feeling, that most people do want to be with their pets at that last moment. And maybe this was a person who just is dealing with compassion fatigue. It's an ER. They go through so much with euthanasia there.
Right.
But still, maybe what is euthanasia, and how do you know it's time, and what can you do afterwards?
Okay. Also, I want to let you know there's going to be, Tom's written a wonderful long blog so you can get more information. Go to petpalstv.com, and as I always say, stay calm. Contact Tom and look at Tom's blog about this. So let's talk about a few things. We'll make sure I can get through this.
Do it. We'll get it.
Well, I had to put my Buster Kitty down. I did it at Noah's.
Right.
And when my Louie had to go, I had
the doctor come out,
doctor
right?
come
Do
to
a
my house.
call, yeah.
What's the pros and cons of each one?
Sure. So, and this is so very hard because we're all going to face that at some point in time. I'm going to be facing it soon here myself with my oldest. But going to the clinic, has always been the standby for many people.
Okay.
It's a lot of times can be scheduled at a point in time that's convenient for everybody. But there are a lot of places now that will come to your home. If not your regular veterinarian, look for places like Lap of Love. That is a franchise that actually have veterinarians who will go out and do house call euthanasias. And
I know someone who just used that too. Thank you.
Some people think that that's a better option. Easier on the pet.
Right, because they're in an environment that they know,
exactly.
Surroundings that they understand. Here's the other thing, and maybe it's just a personal thing. When do you know it's time? I don't know that. I don't know if your veterinarian can tell you. You have to decide for yourself.
You do, right. And people will say, well, you'll know when it's time. Well, it's hard.
That's hard.
It's very subjective. And so there are tools out there, actually. There are quality of life scales, which is very interesting. What they've done is they've ID'd 7 different areas. So hunger, mobility, are they hurting? Are they keeping themselves clean? Various other things. And you score your pet every day.
Wow.
And it's 7 different items. You score from 1 to 10. If they score less than 35, then that's not a good quality of life, and you need to make a decision then. Is it time to euthanize, or is it time to change the medical protocol? It doesn't always have to mean euthanasia. You just need to understand that. You check out every day. What is your dog doing? Are they eating? Are they able to get up without pain?
And you know best because you know your animal.
You see your animal.
How would you want to sum this up?
Well, I think summing it up, euthanasia is a personal decision. If you want to be with your veterinarian and your pet during that time, I think that's great. If you don't, the veterinary staff is honored to help and be there in place of you. And I'll never forget when I worked at a house call practice that did euthanasias, and this stuck with me forever, and I'm going to get goosebumps here in a second, is I would rather help my friend a month too early than a day too late. And that is so powerful. So ask your veterinarian if you have questions. Contact us at the blog. We're happy to help.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Pet Pals TV and getting your mutts to manner is pretty difficult sometimes. Our trainer is Mike Underwood. Mike and Kathy from Camp Bow Wow. What are you going to teach us today?
Welcome back to Mutt Manners. Today, we're going to talk about crate training. Mike?
Well, hello. Today we're talking about crates and how we can get our dog to go in the crate. And as you can see, Kara just walks right in. She knows that's her safe place. What we don't realize is they're really not jail, okay? This is a way to protect our dog, okay? Kara likes to be in there because when she goes into her crate, she gets a special bone. And when she's in there, we'll put that bone in there and then we'll close up the crate. And she's happy to lay in there and enjoy her bone. So what you want to do is make sure that they understand that they get something special to be in that crate. Make sure the crate is safe, it's happy, and she will go in there anytime we ask her to. Sometimes when we don't ask her to, so leave the door open so she can go in and out as she likes. For Mutt Manners, I'm Mike Underwood.
Thank you, Mike. Remember to always check with your local certified trainer. I'm Kathy Underwood for Pet Pals TV.
Know your breed. Brought to you by Noah's Animal Hospitals. The Siberian Husky. As the name implies, the breed is native to Siberia. They were brought to Alaska as sled dogs. They are happy to pull sleds for hours on end. They were made famous as racing dogs in competitions like the Iditarod, but they also deliver medicine and food to people in tiny, hard-to-reach Alaskan villages. Husky owners will tell you they are happy-go-lucky dogs, love to be around families, and very relaxed. They do enjoy howling and having a bit of a conversation with you. Huskies do not make the best watchdogs because they love just about everyone. They live 12 to 15 years. Grooming is a chore. They blow their coats twice a year, and they shed heavily. At home, they need exercise, otherwise they will get bored. They also require a fenced-in yard, as they will roam off-leash. Huskies prefer a cool climate. Health problems include hip dysplasia, and Huskies need a strong pack leader. Training must be firm and patient from an early age. They are very smart. Know your breed.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Tom Dock, our investigative reporter and Pet Pals TV friend, recently had to say goodbye to his Loki. We were talking about euthanasia earlier in the show, and it's a very difficult decision. Tom made a tribute to his dog, and it's a beautiful thing. So here it is.
Give a little love. You see, if I should try believing in you, there's much to gain and much to lose. I'll show you what you have to do. Love is all I need from you. And I've got the positive running through me. And I got your cure for reality. I got a handle, yes, I got me a grip, so tight and powerful, ain't gonna swear. Give a little love, give a little more this time.